Hello, hello, and welcome back to shelter. We're doing the thing. We're being in shelter, right? Yeah. A couple of dogs sit and chatter by the campfire nearby. A boonhund, and a lundehund. Nailed it. That one holds a wooden stick with a sausage over the fire, with the boonhund friend just lays down on the metal floor. A lot of good stuff. I went to Mrjosh, and they had a fresh delivery from the south. I got some dried fruit, and a few bottles of meat, and a bunch of these southern sausages. They're amazing. The dog takes the sausage off the fire and brings it closer to his muzzle to sniff it. A bit of drool drips from the side of his muzzle. He wags his tail and puts the sausage back over the flames to continue roasting. Mrjosh is the closest town to shelter, roughly half a day walking distance from here. That's the place we used to use for trading with the rest of the world. I haven't been there in a while, but I know that it's been rapidly growing due to our activity here at shelter. Apparently, a lot of people come to trade and live in Mrjosh now. When I first came here, in this part of the country was considered a frozen shithole, but now it's a frontier for all those looking for wealth and excitement. Who would have thought? The South, huh? It must be so nice there this time of year. Sometimes I miss the warmth, But it's warm here. Yeah, but only inside shelter. You know what I mean. I miss the warmth of the sun, the greenery of forests and meadows. Here we only have the choice between the warm and safe shelter or the ever cold outside. I miss nature sometimes. Do you want to go south? What? No, never. That's not what I meant. Shelter is our home now. I'm not going to leave you here on your own. His friend wags his tail. He looked like he was deep in thought. Burry from the tavern uses fresh ingredients in his cooking. That means that there must be a way to grow plants here. Oh yeah, now that you mention that, that's true. So, if shelter can provide so many things for us, I wouldn't be surprised if they found a way to add some greenery around here someday too. That would be wonderful. Can you imagine all of the trees to mark? And real grass to nap on. They keep discovering new things every day, so I'm sure something like that may be possible too. Now both of them wag. I feel a bit sorry knowing that they probably won't be, that probably won't be possible. We have a greenhouse, but that's the only place that supports vegetation here. But who knows? A part of living in shelter is constant discovery of the unexpected. Shelter is a place of so many blessings, isn't it? Yeah, and no greater blessing than the warmth. We take it for granted, but I always get a renewed appreciation for it every time I freeze my butt outside. True. Seriously though, how is that even possible? How much wood would it take to keep something so huge warm all the time? This place is bigger than any castle I've seen, but it's as warm and cozy as a little cabin in the woods. Shelter doesn't burn wood. Huh? Then what does it do? Do you know? The lundehund? A dog nods, while staring at the bright burning wood of the campfire. When you first came here, do you remember feeling sick and weak? I do. What was that about? All the people told me was that eventually it would pass. And it did. I forgot that even was a thing. You don't dabble in magic, so I'm not surprised that you didn't notice. But everyone who does knows that shelter constantly siphons mana out of the air, and this is how the place stays warm. It's pretty much like the relics we find around here. It burns mana to fuel its mechanism. The shelter, for example, everyone here is the source of mana. And that's a pretty accurate explanation. I'm surprised that there are still dogs who live here, but don't know that. No way! This is the first time I hear about it. Don't worry, it's not as bad as it sounds. Once you get used to it, it doesn't hurt you. When a newcomer arrives at shelter, his body isn't used to this environment and gets sick. But over time, the body learns to limit the amount of mana it releases, and at that point, you're safe. I see. The Lundahound takes the sausage away from the heat again and brings it closer to his mouth. He alternates between blowing on it and gulping in hunger. The sausage looks thick, delicious, and perfectly roasted. A drop of fat drips down the wooden stick. Does that mean you feel uncomfortable? The whole mana siphoning thing. The Boonhund dog sighs and looks at the giant statue while scratching his head. No, not really. I never even knew that was the case, and it didn't hurt me. It doesn't hurt anymore, and yet it blesses us with a comfortable life here, and that's a pretty good deal. You know, it even makes me proud that I contribute to that. All of that mana that would otherwise go to waste instead brings warmth to every canine here. And that's exactly what Skies Ablaze is about. We celebrate our contribution to the pack, to shelter. The Lundahound finishes blowing out the sausage. He leans towards his friend and offers it to him. Here, this one's for you. What? You didn't even take a bite. I wasn't roasting it for myself. I'm saving them for tonight. But I really wanted you to try one now. They're so good. Are you sure you don't want it? Yeah, don't worry. I'm not even that hungry right now. He smiles, and the moment he does, half a cup of worth of drool escapes from the corner of his mouth. He tries to cover it with his knees. The Lundahound breaks even. Doesn't even break eye contact. He just waits for his Boonhound bud to take the roasted sausage offered to him. You idiot! The Boonhound, God, I don't know how to pronounce these things, takes the roasted sausage off the stick, and the Lundahound wags his tail. The dog breaks the sausage in half in his hands. Catch! He tosses one half of the sausage in the air, and, like driven by instinct, the Lundahound lunges forward and catches it in his maw. The Lundahound blinks in confusion and sits back down, embarrassed. His mouth is full of sausage. Come on, chew it. It's so obvious you're hungry. But don't you try pulling the selflessness crap on me. I hate that. Do you really think I could enjoy the sausage knowing that my friend is starving for one? No, I couldn't. There is no point in Skies Ablaze to me if we don't have fun equally, both of us. So, come on. If you want me to take a bite, you have to take one too. Otherwise, if you choose to starve yourself, then I would rather starve together with you than be the only one eating. He smiles and wags his tail. Then he finally takes a bite of the sausage himself. He's such a good boy, friend. Yes. Damn. This is delicious. The best sausage I've ever had. No joke. Right. I changed my mind. Give me the other half too. Spit it out. The Lundahound swallows his chewed half in a hurry and sticks out his tongue at his friend. Too late. You have to wait for the evening now. That was just a sample. No, you tease. The two dogs laugh and wag their tails. They continue talking about some random things, but I can't hear them anymore because another loud group of dogs march through the corridor. It's very uplifting to see the dogs being so happy and excited today. Watching new friends blooming is so nice. It looks like there's a custom of sharing little gifts between the dogs on Skies Ablaze now. Teak had a bunch of them for everyone earlier. I wonder if I had anything to give to Burry. What would that be? Is there anything that I myself would want? Anyway, I finish wiping the foot of the metal guardian and throw the soaked rag back into the bucket. And that should do it for now. It looks dry enough to me, but I probably only helped the stupid mutt spread the mark further around the foot. I'm gonna come back here later to clean it properly. I stand up and look at the blank face at the giant guardian. It looks like the dog made him a pair of fake ears, his mouth too. Oh hey. Okay. Thank you for letting us stay at your home. Please keep us safe, and I will continue to care for shelter in your place. I like the Guardians. To me, they are like the closest link between us and the ancients we have. Speaking, or even looking at them, always fills me with that feeling of indescribable awe. I put my hand on the giant's cold, smooth sheen and smile. But I take it off in a hurry when I remember that my hand is still dirty with piss. Sorry. I'll come back later and give you a proper wash. I know for sure that a 1x1 solution of water and vinegar and white vinegar works great against dog piss. I have to hurry to the turret control tower for now. Please, grant me success tonight too. I dive between the Guardian's legs again and hide the bucket back in the corner. Then I hurry towards the turret's control room. I catch a quick glance at the Brund and the Lundehund, but by the campfire. They munch on some dried fruit now. Looks like they fill their stomach with that in their weight. That's what it is for the evening feast. Hang in there, buds. Just a little longer. Your sausage time is coming soon. We don't really know how shelter works. All the knowledge we have is just the tip of the iceberg, barely enough to keep it running. Every day is a struggle against everything that we still don't understand, and the only way for us to learn is by trial and error. It was easier when there were just a few of us now. Now any failure means putting in danger hundreds of dogs living here. We have to be careful and diligent. We learn about shelter's function to siphon and burn mana ever since the very first time me and Burry came here. That was how we were able to open the doors and explore the inside. At the time, barely anything was in working order. For the first year or so, we didn't even know that it had its own heating system. We kept campfires for warmth. Eventually, we got many of the new systems running again. The heating, lighting, ventilation, water pumps, and filters. This place has all of that, and so much more, like a complex organism. At first, there weren't enough of us to provide all of the energy we needed. That changed as more and more people came here. The more of us settled into shelter, the warmer it got here. Not only that, but it also kept us safe and invisible to the monsters. Mana attracts monsters. Bigger gatherings of people are always at more risk of being targeted, being the targets of regular monster attacks, so by all means, we should be in danger too. However, as long as shelter works, it traps traps any mana produced inside, and it doesn't allow any of that to spread across the Frostlands for monsters to pick up. And they let us live here peacefully. For as weird as shelter is, in some ways it's the safest place in the world. Unfortunately, our growing population eventually becomes an issue. We reached the point when we produced more mana than shelter can utilize at a time. That caused it to shut down. I'm certain that shelter was built to host many more people than we had at the time. Even the numbers of dogs we have today is insignificant compared to the size of this whole place. There is definitely an important element of the system that I'm missing or have aligned wrong. By design, shelter should sustain its work in conditions like these, not shut down. But as I said, we don't really know how shelter works. When we turned shelter back on again, we tried to find workarounds. We turned on all of the systems we found in working order, even when they weren't needed, anything to burn more mana. Even that wasn't enough. More people came, and one day another shutdown happened. That was disheartening. We started to consider limiting the number of dogs in shelter to keep it sustainable. I didn't like that. Nobody did. It was against our philosophy. And when we were at our wits' end and ready to give in, the ancients blessed us with an unexpected gift. I finally reached my destination, a room cluttered with screens and cables. It looks exactly like I left it. Nobody comes here but me. It's way too dangerous to let any of the dogs touch any of the buttons here. Even the ancients deemed it too important to grant access here to just anyone. The door to this room opens only for the holders of a specific type of keycard. Luckily, I have one in my possession. One of the dogs found it and brought it to me around the time we were desperately looking for a solution to the mana overload problem. The key unlocked one of the towers on top of shelter for us. It was riddled with many rooms with screens and complicated heavy machinery. Once we got in, we put all of its systems online right away and left them running while we investigated every nook and cranny in the newfound rooms. To our joy, the machinery here sucked up large quantities of mana. For a long time, we were oblivious. That's what it is. Oblivious to where all of that mana was going. But no, we were still happy. We only found out that it was powering one of Shelter's turrets once. I fired it by accident and destroyed a huge chunk of a nearby mountain. The dogs howled in joy and found that hilarious, but I was terrified. It was only by a miracle that no dog was hurt that day, and the forever changed landscape reminded me that. That was the perfect solution we were looking for, though. I just had to find a way to fire it safely in the future. Next time I tried firing it high up, which caused a particular effect. The dogs told me that once it reached a certain altitude, the energy burst over the sky and exploded into something inexplicably beautiful. I've never seen the explosion myself. It takes me a long time to reach and leave this room each shot creates a huge instability to Shelter's system that I have to monitor. However, the dogs loved the explosion so much that they started asking me when the next one was planned. They started celebrating it as skies ablaze, and it became a part of their culture. I wish I could see that. The turret uses extremely heavy shells to absorb mana. At first, it took up roughly half a year to charge one shell. However, Shelter's population keeps growing. That shortens the time between each skies ablaze. We're in the third quarter of the current year, and it's already our second shell. It's a lot of work to set everything up each time, but it has to be done, and it keeps everyone happy. One day we may run out of shells to load the turret with, but this situation is still a blessing. It gives us more time to investigate shelter and look for new solutions. Everyone works hard to keep our home free and open. Oh, okay. I'll end the part here. So I'll see you around, everyone.